Morningstar and Financial Ratings Series online. So we're going to start by just talking about how to actually get to these online resources. San Mateo County Libraries has a ton of resources, and sometimes navigating these and trying to get to what you need can be a little complicated. So our website is smcl.org. And I'll show a demo of this too, but to get to our online resources, you'll hit the Browse dropdown and then select Online Resources under the More category. And then once you get to our online resources, there's a couple different ways you can navigate that page. You can see an alphabetical list of the databases, or you can browse the databases by different formats, like by subject, by audience, or by the type of resource. So for example, for our purposes today, we look at by subject and go to businesses, associations, and finance and find our financial databases there. So for both of these resources, you will need a San Mateo County Libraries card, and that's a card that has the 29041 prefix in the barcode. If you have a city card, for example, you might not be able to access these resources. I know that some of the city libraries do have them, so I would just check with your local library. And if you don't have a card, we can help you out with registering for one online. So don't worry, I will show you how to get to the online resources page when I actually do the live demo. Okay, so let's talk first about the Financial Ratings Series online. And I just want to check the chat really quickly. Okay. So it looks like we got the microphone situation taken care of, so that's good. So let's talk about what Financial Ratings Series online is. Now, it's kind of a mouthful to say. So sometimes you'll hear us refer to it as Weiss Ratings, because that is the agency that is behind this online service. It's actually a collaborative effort between Weiss Ratings, which is an independent financial ratings firm, and Greyhouse Publishing, which is a publisher of guides to banks, credit unions, insurance companies. You might have seen some of their guides in our actual libraries. They do a lot of those big print guides. So I know that the libraries are closed right now, so you might not be able to access some of this information in the library, but you can access a lot of it through this database. So Weiss Ratings Financial Ratings Series not only has ratings on stocks, mutual funds, and exchange-traded funds, but they also offer safety ratings on banks, credit unions, and insurance companies. They also have a Medicare supplement insurance guide, as well as articles and financial literacy tools. So let's talk about the investment ratings first, because that's sort of the premier feature of the site. So Weiss Ratings provides letter grades for stocks, and they also give buy, hold, sell recommendations. And you might be wondering, well, how do they come up with these ratings? What is their methodology? What is this based on? So this is based on independent research. They use their own algorithm. They're completely independent. They do not accept any compensation from any kind of insurers or sponsors. Their sole revenue source is from the sale of its ratings and research to consumers, investors, and other end users. So they're completely independent. They have their own algorithm system. And when you look at a company profile, you can see the criteria in which they rate the stock. So everything is broken down really nicely. What I really like about their rating site is that it's very clear to me, like what's good and what's not so good. So the stocks that are a D rating and have the red, that kind of tells me to proceed with caution. The ones with the C rating and the yellow, that's like hold, pause. And then the green ratings, to me, it says it's good and I'm kind of interested in looking at it. They also have a lot of infographics and charts that show how the stock has changed and some of the market trends. You can also set screens. So if you're looking for a particular type of stock, you can set some criteria and see a list of the stocks that fit that criteria. So for example, if you're looking for stocks in California with a rating of, A to B plus, you can get a list of that. And I can show you how that works. You can also add stocks to your watch list. So I mentioned that these databases require a library card, and they don't require an email address, but you can sign up with an email address for Financial Rating Series if you'd like to get email alerts about certain stocks that you're interested in. So they never ask you for any sort of personal data, but if you want to add your email address and get emailed alerts to you, you have that option here with Weiss Ratings. And I can show you again in the live demo how to do all that. The other thing that I like is that they have helpful glossaries for financial terms. For me, I'm a bit of a novice investor, and sometimes I don't know what a term means or what that means in relation to the stock performance. They have the glossaries right there for you. You can quickly check and see what that means and what it means in the context of the stock that you're looking at. So they also have the really helpful ratings for financial institutions. You can look up to see what the ratings are on your bank. I always look up my insurance companies and then credit unions. They also provide lists of the highest rated institutions just right there for you. You don't even have to build that yourself. It's just there. But you can also set up a screening tool for institutions. So one of the demos I'll show you in a second is if you're looking for a credit union, for example, you want to switch over to a credit union, you want one that's local and you want one with a good rating, you can set that up for yourself. And then again, you can do those watch lists for your own bank or credit unions or insurance companies to see how they're performing. And lastly, the Medigap Tool, which is a personalized email report. You just plug in some information, and I'll show you what that information is. It's your age, gender, location, and then optional to put in an email address. It will send you an 80-page PDF that will show you what Medicare does and does not cover, what to look for when you're picking a Medigap plan, which is the insurance that will cover what Medicare does not cover. And then you can see rates for each plan and insurer. And because you will put in your local information, you can find the best insurers and an authorized agent in your area. And then finally, because they work with Greyhouse Publishing, which is the wonderful guides and helpful financial reference information for libraries, they have so many different financial literacy tools. They've got worksheets and planners, like a life insurance need worksheet. They have timely and relevant articles on financial news and trends. And they range from very, very basic, like what is Bitcoin? Or what are some trends to look for in 2021, to something a little bit more advanced. So a lot of information there. So before we do the live demo, I'm just going to quickly pause and see if there's anything that's come up in the chat. And yes, I can absolutely annotate the slide to highlight what I'm explaining. Yes, I'll do that in the live demo. That's a great suggestion. Okay, so I am going to stop sharing for a second and I'm going to switch over to the website. So 1 second while I get my bearings. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, let me go back to, okay, here we go. Okay. And let me turn on my annotate so you can see what I'm pointing at. So let's do the spotlight. Okay. So here is our SMCL homepage. And you'll go to Browse. Click this drop down here. And then you'll navigate over to Online Resources. And I'll show you the two kind of gateways to getting to the online resources if you're looking for something specific. So first we'll do by subject. So I'm going to view all. And I'll scroll down a little bit. And I'm going to go to business associations and finance, because that's where our finance databases live. And like I said, we have a lot, so we have to scroll down a little bit. And here we go, Financial Ratings Series Online. Okay. So let me just move my Zoom out of the way. Okay, there we go. Oops, and that got rid of my annotations. Let me bring that up again. Sorry about that. Okay, so one of the things that I like to do is just look at what the stock profile looks like. So I'm going to put in a company, and let's just do General Motors, since those are my initials, GM. Okay. And so we can see what the rating is that Weiss gives it. They give it a C. They recommend holding it. You can see a summary of how they're rating it. So they're giving it a B- for reward and a D+ for risk. And then you can see the ratings factors. So this is the criteria that Weiss is rating on. And then if you keep scrolling, you can see some relevant headlines down below with General Motors in the news today. And then if you're interested in seeing how this rating has changed and evolved, one place that I like to look is over at ratings history. And this way I can kind of learn a little bit more about why Weiss is giving it the rating that it is. So we can see here that back in August, they gave it a D+ rating with a recommendation to sell. But in November, it was upgraded to a C with hold. And they explained that it was upgraded from C to D+ due to a significant increase in the growth index, valuation index, and volatility index. So this is pretty interesting to see. And if you have it on your watch list, as soon as it's upgraded from that D+ to a C or whatever rating your stock has, you'll get an email alert. And so you can actually do that by clicking the star right here, and you can hit add to watch list. Now I'm logged in currently, but it will ask you to create an account, and it just requires your email address. Okay. And then let's see, I'm going to move over to, okay, here we go. My Zoom tools keep getting in the way of where I'm trying to navigate. So the other thing I wanted to show was the screening tool. So I'm going to do this for credit unions. And you can see right away, their analysts pick a credit union or a stock or a mutual fund of the day. I'm not totally sure how they pick this, but it's usually one that's had like a upward rating. So that's kind of interesting to see. And then you can also see the strongest credit unions ranked by Weiss analysts. And then you can also build a screener. So let's say that I am looking for a credit union in California. So I've set my state as California, and I want one with a pretty solid rating. So I've set it to A+ to B-. And so now I can see all of the top rated credit unions in California. If you are looking for a credit union in a specific city, you can sort that list by alphabetical order. I'm going to go over to R. because I want one in Redwood City. And I see that the San Mateo Credit Union, which is local to me, and probably to many of you, has a recommendation of an A. So it's recommended, and it's an A-rated credit union. And we can look and see what the history is. So it looks like it's been a solid A since 2018, and it's only gone down to a B+ in 2015. And then I mentioned the glossary, which is really important. If I don't know what certain terms mean as I'm looking through this profile, I can see a full list here. And then if I want to look at this later, that's a lot to take in, I'm doing my research, I can actually click on report and download it as a PDF to my computer. And no email address required. And you can do this for stocks too. If I want to see a full report on the performance of GM, I can download that full PDF to my computer. I'm going to pause really quickly. I saw that there were some questions. I just want to make sure that I am covering everything. Oops. I'm having trouble getting to the questions. Oh, there we go. Will this tool also provide index ratings? So this one does not, but the Morningstar does. And I will show that after this. So I just wanted to show really quickly the financial planning tools. So we've got the Medicare prescription drug primer, long-term care insurance planner. This one I really like, the auto insurance quote comparison worksheet. And again, these are just PDFs that you can download right to your computer. And then finally, the Medigap tool looks like this. You just plug in some basic information, and then they'll send you that 80-page report. And because both us, the library system, and Weiss Ratings and Greyhouse value your privacy, you don't even need to put in your real email address. They actually instruct you on how to put in a fake email address and still get the report. So, we take privacy very seriously, especially when it comes to sensitive information like your financial needs and medical needs. Okay, so I am going to stop for a second and switch back over to my slides and just quickly check the chat again. Okay. So let me open up my slides. Oops. Okay, oops, for some reason booted me. Okay. There we go. Okay, so next we're going to talk about Morningstar Investment Research Center. Now, I kind of look at the Weiss Financial Ratings Series as more for novice investors. Morningstar is a little bit more advanced, but don't be intimidated if you're new to investing. They have so much help and information and resources that you could possibly need. It's almost overwhelming. They have online courses, they have articles, they have glossaries, they explain all of their terms. So as I'm going through this, especially when I'm doing the demo, it might seem like a lot, but just know that there's so much help there that, I really recommend using both of these tools in tandem, and I'll show you why. They're different research firms, they're different analyst firms, and they have different results for their stock information. So it's really good to kind of use these in tandem, but think of Morningstar as more of an in-depth service. So Morningstar is a respected tool for collecting financial information, obtaining portfolio analysis, learning about investment options, and reading financial news and commentary. And you might be familiar with Morningstar's tools for consumers. These are a little bit different for the library. For one, it doesn't retain any of your personal information. You can't save your portfolio in these tools. However, you can plug in a hypothetical portfolio or what you currently have in your portfolio and download a PDF report and save it that way. But you can't actually load in all of your financial information into the site. It's purely for reference. So as I said, very respected financial services and research firm. A lot of people are familiar with them and their financial tools for consumers. Different from Weiss Ratings in that they provide star ratings to stocks and funds for investors. They use a star rating system. So 5-star stocks sell for the biggest risk adjusted discount to their fair values, whereas 1-star stocks trade at premiums to their intrinsic worth. So they look at 4 key components. They assess the firm's economic moat, which is the advantage a company has over its competitors. They look at an estimate of the stock's fair value, their uncertainty around that fair value estimate, and then the current market price. They also provide data on 14,500 stocks, 24,800 mutual funds, and 1,500 exchange traded funds, 700 close-end funds. So a little bit more in depth than Financial Ratings Series and Weiss Ratings, but they do not do the ratings on the banks, insurance companies, and credit unions. And then again, the library version has a lot of help and reference tools for you, as well as online courses, news, insights, and more. So this is what a stock page looks like, and it'll be a little bit better looking in the actual demo itself. And they look at stocks on, the 3 major markets. They also do market and industry reports, so a little bit different from Financial Ratings Series. If you're interested in a particular market, you can look that up and download a full report. You can also create lists of possible investments with their screening tool. So similar again to the Financial Rating Series. However, what I like about Morningstar is that they have preset screens that are developed by their own analysts. And these are used by their own analysts every single day. So for example, you can pull up a list of all of the stocks that currently have 5-star ratings. And then also very unique to Morningstar is that they've got these great portfolio tools. So they have something called Portfolio Xray, which is where you can plug in everything that you have money in, whether it's cash, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, retirement funds. It will come up with this beautiful pie chart of all of your assets. And so you can see the diversity of where your assets are allocated. You can see what sectors your various stocks are in. It comes up with all these different graphs and visualizations that are a little complicated. So I have to do a little bit of back and forth between the user guide in Morningstar versus the portfolio tool to do a little bit of interpretation. But again, they have all of that information there for you. And again, you can download a full report with this big analysis of your own portfolio. So I'll definitely show that. They also have college and retirement savings calculators, which is really cool. I would just recommend for those having your information at hand as you're filling those out, because Morningstar doesn't retain any of your information. If you need to go back and look something up, it won't save it in the site for you. So, but still really helpful if you're ready to look at that. And then again, financial literacy and education is a huge part of the site. Something pretty unique to Morningstar is that they've got monthly live online trainings. These are with Morningstar analysts. They walk you through on everything in the library tool that you can use. And then they can ask pretty specific financial questions, whereas somebody like me might not be able to do that. But they offer this for free for all library patrons. So it's really cool. It's a really great benefit. So I'll show you where that calendar is too. And then again, they have the investment classroom. They have over 100 courses on topics like stocks, funds, building your portfolio, building your 401k, et cetera. And then a very helpful glossary of investment terms. Okay, and before I switch over to the live demo, just want to make sure that there aren't any questions. It doesn't look like it. Okay, so I am going to switch over to my site. And I'll show you again on how to get to Morningstar. Okay, so 1 second. Oops. Okay, so you should be able to see SMCL's homepage. See a little polar bear on there. So again, let me turn on the annotation. Okay. So we're going to go to Browse, under More, Online Resources. And then, so if you know what you're looking for, I think the fastest way to get to our online resources is to just go A to Z resources. This is the full list of all of our online resources in alphabetical order. I'll go to M. And then we have to scroll down a little bit because we've got a lot of M resources. Here we go. Morningstar Investment Research Center. So again, I'm already logged in, but when you click this, you might be prompted to log in with your 29041 library card, as well as with your PIN, which is always going to be the last 4 digits of your phone number. If your PIN isn't working for some reason, just contact our customer service and we can help you figure out what it is and reset it. Oh no. That's not good. Okay. Phew. I don't know what happened there. So it should just load and not give you that weird message. Okay. And I did see something come up in the chat, so I just want to make sure that I am. Oh, great. Thank you, Darren. Okay. So first I'll show you how a stock page or stock profile looks compared to the Financial Ratings Series. And you can see how the ratings differ between the two resources and why it's pretty important to look at both when you're doing your stock research. So we'll do General Motors again. Oops. Okay, it looks like for whatever reason I'm having trouble with this site. I'm just going to click over. Oops. Okay, it's weird.
It only stops working when we decide to give a demonstration.
I know. Okay, 1 moment, please. Okay, I think, yeah, it's giving me that weird, oh, here we go. Okay. It wasn't letting, it wasn't auto-filling the General Motors, and then it was giving me that weird if you experience an issue with the search box. So hopefully that doesn't happen for you. It might be a weird glitch today. So you don't need to know the ticker, though the ticker for this one's pretty easy. But if you don't know the ticker, you can just start typing in the company name, and then it will auto-load all of the ones that might fit that. So we're going to go to General Motors. And this is interesting. So if you recall, the Financial Ratings Series had a C+ rating for General Motors, and they gave it the hold yellow color coding. But Morningstar actually gives it 4 stars, and it gives it 4 stars out of 5 stars, which is pretty good. So we want to see what that means and why they give it that rating, and how do they do this analysis. So they have it right here, and I really like the way that they do this because it makes it very clear how they come up with this rating. So they say that GM is undervalued at an 8% discount, and they give it the fair value of $58. They give it a high uncertainty, and then the last closing price of $48.73. And then you can see a little bit more about what they consider a 1-star price versus a 5-star price. You can hover over, there's a little eye that pops up, and then you can see their explanation as well as their terms. So like I said, Morningstar is a pretty complicated and very thorough database.
Hi, Paul. Good to see you.
But they do provide glossary definitions, explanations, how they do their methodology. So everything is right there for you. It just kind of takes a little bit of clicking around. The other thing that I thought was kind of cool is that they pull up really timely news articles about the stock. So I don't know if you all are familiar with CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. It's currently happening right now. Usually it's in Vegas, but right now it's virtual. And CES has a lot of car news because so many of the new cars have a lot of tech in them. So this is kind of interesting. It's pulling up a headline about this new commercial vehicle business called BrightDrop. And then you'll get the analysis from one of the Morningstar writers, this guy is a sector strategist. So, and that gives his analysis on what, this news means for GM and the GM stock. So really, really timely information. Looks like that came out yesterday, updated yesterday. So, I really like that about Morningstar. They're a huge service, and they have a lot of articles and writers, and so there's always very timely news about what you're looking up. And then let's say that this is great, but there's so much here to look at. There's analysis, there's the executive profile, the dividends, the operating performance. It's a lot of information. All the way up here, you can go to this little piece of paper, and that's going to download it as a PDF to your computer. So, like I said, you can't retain any information in your sessions, but you can download, company reports right to your computer. And that also goes for the portfolio tool, which is right here. So again, I want to point out all of the amazing free educational resources they have. They have, definitions of the various asset classes, what they mean. They have videos on the 7 habits of highly successful investors by their Morningstar analysts. They have worksheets where you can set up your investment goals, which is really cool, and kind of for all stages of life too, which I like. And then they have these really helpful retirement savings and college savings calculators. It's taking a second to load, but you can see what it looks like. So again, you'll need to have some information in front of you as you're filling that out. But it's just another free, helpful tool. So I'm going to go back to the portfolio tool and show you the Xray portfolio. So you can put in a hypothetical real portfolio, whatever you'd like. Just know that it's not going to be saved to the site. So if you're just kind of playing around, this is a really great tool So let's say, I have stock in Starbucks, and I can just type in the company name, pull it up. I have $1,000 in Starbucks stock, hypothetical. I have, stock in Ulta Beauty. And then I also have money in a retirement fund. And then you see that it comes, and then let's say I have this much in cash. I'm just flush with cash. So you can see your asset allocation, which is really nice. And Morningstar analysts recommend having, a diverse portfolio. So this is a really great way to see how diverse your portfolio actually is. You can look and see what sectors your stocks are in. And then you can also see what regions your stocks are in. Now, if you want a more in-depth analysis of your portfolio, you can actually generate a report. And let's just select everything. And it gives you some important information. Of course, investments can go down and up, and you might get back, less than you invested. It's always recommended to consult an authorized financial advisor. So this is really just a reference tool. This is something, if you're just starting to do your research, this is a great place to go. But it's by no means like a, true financial analysis, financial advisor tool. It's just something to kind of do your research. So we hit generate. And here we go. We've got this 28-page portfolio snapshot. It shows you the performance history, the risk and reward. It gives you some benchmarks of some similar performing stocks. So really, really, really in-depth information. It's a lot, but really, really helpful and all completely free. So it shows you, actually, this is kind of neat. It shows you your stocks versus the top performing, I think the top 50 performing stocks. So you can kind of see like how your stocks are performing against those. So all really useful information. Okay. And I'm just going to pause again and make sure I'm not missing anything in the chat. Okay, so looks good. So I'm going to go over to companies because I just wanted to show the screening tool. So the Morningstar screens are pretty neat, especially for those of us who don't really know where to start when we're starting to do some research on potential stocks to invest in. So I like looking at the Warren Buffett stocks. Just out of curiosity, this is what the companies that he's looking for. He looks for companies with the strongest competitive advantages, aka economic moats, which is also what the Morningstar analysts look for when they're coming up with their ratings. So we can just go ahead and open that. And then we see the full list of the Warren Buffett stocks. And you can sort by sector, you can sort by rating. So I want to see the ones that have the top ratings. So it looks like Hanes Brands has a 5-star rating. And then I can click on it and learn a little bit more. And again, you can download that full report as a PDF and save it in a file in your computer. One other thing I was going to show was the help and education. Here's where you'll find those help and database trainings, the live trainings. It doesn't look like they have the January one up yet, but they're just Zoom meetings, just like this one. They also have really thorough database guides that walk through each section and tells you like what each feature does. So that's really helpful if you're like going through this and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much. Like, where do I even start? This is actually the help in education tab is really the best place to start. And then they have these great online courses. And these are courses that normally you'd have to pay for, through a lot of like financial services companies. These are all free. They're not the fanciest, but they have, full text, and they have a quiz at the end. And then you can look at the course catalog and keep moving through the different levels. I just saw a question come in.
I just shared the link.
Oh, thanks. Every time I see the chat come up, I'm like, I have to check it. Okay. So now I just wanted to open it up and see if there was anything that you wanted me to show in either of the sites, if there's anything you wanted to revisit, any questions.